Imagine trusting the one you live with, only to find out she's planning your downfall. This is the story of Amaka, a young woman whose biggest dream turned into her worst nightmare, all because of her jealous roommate. Amaka was the kind of young woman everyone admired. She was in her early 20s, a final-year student who also worked part-time to support herself. No matter how difficult things got, she carried herself with grace. She studied hard, she helped her neighbors, and she never allowed challenges to dim her smile. Her mother often said she was a light, and that light seemed to shine everywhere she went. Her roommate, Ngozi, was different. At first glance, she seemed kind and cheerful, always quick with a laugh or a compliment. To everyone else, she looked like a supportive friend. But deep inside, she carried a bitterness she never spoke about. Whenever Amaka received praise, she would nod and smile, but in her heart she asked, "Why not me?" Together they shared almost everything. They cooked meals in the small kitchen they both struggled to keep tidy, they studied late into the night in the same cramped room, and sometimes they sat together talking about the future they dreamed of. To Amaka, Ngozi was a sister she could rely on. But to Ngozi, Amaka was a mirror, a constant reminder of everything she wished she could be. In the beginning, they laughed together, cooked together, and even shared their secrets. But jealousy, like a hidden fire, burns silently, until it destroys. One weekend, Amaka's mother visited from the village. She brought foodstuff, a few home-cooked meals, and a small package wrapped neatly in brown paper. Inside was a body cream, carefully chosen for her daughter. Amaka received it with excitement, thanking her mother over and over again. From the very first day she began using it, there was a difference. Her skin, already smooth, began to glow even more. Friends on campus noticed. Strangers complimented her. Even lecturers paused to remark on how radiant she looked. To Amaka, it was nothing more than a thoughtful gift from home, a reminder of her mother's love. But to Ngozi, it became something else entirely. Every time Amaka opened the jar of cream, Ngozi watched closely. She noticed the fragrance, the shine it left, the way people's eyes followed Amaka whenever they walked together. At first, she pretended not to care. She even said things like, "Ah, Amaka, you're glowing, oh. That cream is really working for you." But deep inside, her heart tightened. Day by day, her thoughts darkened. Each compliment Amaka received felt like an insult thrown at her. Each smile from others toward Amaka felt like a reminder of her own invisibility. She began to measure herself against Amaka in everything: her looks, her grades, even the way people greeted them. Ngozi smiled with her lips, but her heart was boiling. To her, every compliment Amaka received was like a slap on her face. One evening, as Amaka prepared for bed, she left her jar of cream on the small wooden table they both shared. She was tired from a long day of lectures and assignments, so she quickly lay down to sleep, never imagining that danger was already in the room with her. Ngozi stayed awake, pretending to scroll through her phone. Her mind raced, her heart heavy with envy. In that moment, her thoughts shifted from jealousy to action. She reached under her bed and pulled out a small bottle, one she had hidden for weeks. Inside was a corrosive chemical, something she knew could harm but told herself she would never use. Yet that night, her envy pushed her over the edge. She glanced at Amaka, fast asleep and breathing gently. Then, with steady hands, she unscrewed the lid of the cream jar and carefully poured the chemical inside. The thick, poisonous liquid sank in quickly, mixing with the cream until it looked untouched. To anyone else, nothing had changed. She wiped the jar clean, replaced the lid, and slid the dangerous bottle back under her bed. When she was done, she sat there quietly, her face calm, her breathing even, as if nothing had happened. To the world, she was still the caring roommate. She even whispered, "Good night, Amaka," before lying down, but in her heart, she knew she had planted destruction. The following morning, Amaka woke early. She dressed for her lecture, humming softly as she got ready. She reached for her cream, unscrewed the lid, and without hesitation applied it to her face and arms. At first, nothing happened. But within seconds, a burning sensation spread across her skin. Amaka's smile vanished. She gasped, then let out a scream so loud it shook the walls. Pain shot through her body, her skin stung as though fire itself was clinging to her. She dropped the jar, clutching her arms, crying out for help. It was no longer cream, but poison. A single touch, and Amaka's dreams melted into pain. Amaka's screams pierced the quiet morning. Neighbors who lived in the same compound rushed to her room, knocking frantically, their voices filled with panic. When the door finally opened, they found her curled on the floor, her skin burning, tears streaming down her face. The small jar of cream lay spilled beside her, the smell sharp and strange. No one waited to ask questions. 2 men carried her in their arms while others shouted for help. A taxi was stopped on the street, and within minutes Amaka was rushed to the nearest hospital. Doctors and nurses hurried to her side, applying first aid, trying to ease her pain, while she cried out, asking again and again, "Why is this happening to me?" Back at the house, neighbors began to talk. Some suspected maybe the cream had expired, others wondered if someone had done something wicked. Their whispers grew louder, and soon fingers began to point. When the jar was examined, the truth started to unfold. The cream was not what it appeared to be. It had been mixed with something dangerous. Suspicion turned to certainty when one of the neighbors recalled seeing Ngozi late in the night, moving restlessly around the room long after Amaka had fallen asleep. Another neighbor admitted she had overheard Ngozi complain bitterly about how everyone praised Amaka while ignoring her. Slowly, the pieces came together, and a picture of betrayal formed before their eyes. By the time the news reached Amaka's family, the community was already buzzing. People could not believe it. The same girl who shared meals with her, who laughed with her, who claimed to be her closest friend, was the very one who had harmed her. The one she trusted most had become her enemy. At that moment, the whole world saw what jealousy can do. In our world today, jealousy hides in familiar faces. It does not always come from strangers, sometimes it comes from the very people we sit with, laugh with, and share our lives with. What happened to Amaka is a reminder that envy never builds, it only destroys.